Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's great show and subscribing. On today's episode, I will first get into the league naming Brett Dobson as the award winner for the most valuable player. I will then tell you my ballots and if I agree. Then we will look at the All-NLL teams and what they mean, including the All-Rookie team. Then we'll do our top 4 most likely to win Finals MVP if Halifax were to win the chip. And finally, we'll also do the what's next for the Ottawa Black Bears and what's next for the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, how those two teams can make it back to the playoffs. Or make the playoffs. Without further ado, tickets are selling fast for the NLL Finals. If you want to get yours today, head over to natalkradio.com and click the event tickets tab, and there you can search your favorite NLL team or local if you're up there in Ontario or Nova Scotia. There's also a link down below to that website. We appreciate you and all of your support. Get tickets and experience history. The NLL has announced that Brett Dobson was voted MVP of the National Lacrosse League. And in case you have missed the last couple of weeks or the entire playoffs, Brett Dobson broke league records for the following. He had an 84.7 save percentage record, 7.86 goals average, or goals allowed average, and a 48.10 goals saved above average. All three of those shattered NLL records, which is awesome. So Brett Dobson was named most valuable player. And now it is time to get in to my top 5 MVP after I submitted votes for the awards. Number 5 for me was the Ottawa Black Bears' Jeff Teat. While his team did miss the playoffs, it is hard to argue there is a handful of players more valuable than Jeff Teat was. I thought he deserved some recognition for this year. He constantly puts up big numbers. He is constantly a reliable part of his team. And when he's not clicking, the team is not clicking, especially late in the season. But I do think Jeff T did enough for him to make number 5 on my most valuable players ballot. Number 4 for me on my MVP ballot was Halifax Thunderbirds' Clark Peterson. Clark Peterson is one that snuck on, and I thought he might have had one of the most underrated regular seasons in history. The man had 40 goals, and second on his team was 23. He also had 90 points, and second on his own team was 56. Was it up there with the best points in the league? No. In fact, looking back at it, 90 points in the NLL was only good enough for 14th best. But if other guys on their teams have got counterparts and guys who are with them and like co-stars, I feel like Clark Peterson, who did he have? That offense was struggling, and he was still putting up points and helping them make the playoffs with that late push. Number 3 on my MVP ballots, Zach Currier. I told you guys I thought him winning Transition Player of the Year was about as equivalent to him winning Goaltender of the Year. It made no sense to me. But in terms of his all-around impact, it is hard to argue Zach Currier is not a top 5 MVP candidate every single NLL season. Zach Currier got love from me. He was the only staple on the Seals. Wesley Bergentree and LeClaire were up and down in a roller coaster at best. The lefties, LOL. And the defense, also wishy-washy, as was the goaltending. Zach Currier was the staple. And of course, that last weekend against Vegas also was a big deal for me. Number 2 on my MVP ballots, Vancouver Warriors, Keegan Ball. I keep reminding people, not only did Keegan Ball lead the NLL with 124 points, and he was tied for second with 45 goals. Keegan Ball, when you pull up what Vancouver did this season, he had 44 more points than Jesse King. I know that Curtis Dixon scored a bunch of goals, and good for him. But it is arguable, if you take Keegan Ball off this team, they are making the playoffs, but nowhere near a number 1 seed. Keegan Ball was the driving force for them. I do think Christian Del Bianco was just outside my top 5, as was Andrew Q, as was Warren Hill. Maybe Dane Smith would have snuck on there too. But I felt confident in him on my 5. But you're like, well, who was number 1? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I also agree. Brad Dobson was my number 1 MVP. He will be named MVP of the Mikes. Many of the awards that I had was also the consensus, which I'm happy about. Again, Brad Dobson MVP, offensive player Keegan Ball, defensive player Callum Jones, rookie CJ Kirst, goaltender Brett Dobson, general manager Brad Self, 6. Graham Perro was 7th for me personally, even though Graham Perro is not part of the Mikes. But 7 of the awards I also had as my number 1 guy. I told you guys before that transition player, I had Mike Messenger and Zach Currier. Did I even make my top 5? I told you guys that Ryan Keenan was 3rd on sportsmanship for me, so I'm not even mad at that. I had Ed Cuomo, coach of the year, but Pat Coyle was 2nd. But overall, I thought the awards got this right for the most part until I saw the All-NLL teams and all rookie teams. So let's break that down on the other side of this. But again, before we go to this commercial, Brad Dobson has won league MVP. Yesterday at 4 o'clock Eastern, it was announced. Shout out to him. He deserves it. Well earned and all kind of stuff. Also, shout out to the Georgia Swarm for having him give an MVP speech. Like, we don't have in this league where we go to the podium and the guy says who he thanks and stuff. Well, they posted one for themselves. Good for Georgia. That's awesome. When we come back to this awesome show, well, first the comments. No, okay, well, I mean, sorry. Sometimes it's the first shirt that I see. And Sawyer would be interviewing with Edmonton Oilers. Good Lord. When we come back to this awesome show, let's look at the All-NLL and all rookie teams. You're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
You are watching Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. It is 1:12 if you are listening live. If you want to experience history this weekend, there are still tickets left for all three games. NATalkRadio.com, click the event tickets tab, and search up Toronto Rock or Halifax Thunderbirds. There are tickets available. It takes you straight to the Vivid Seats website. And again, search in Halifax or Toronto at natalkradio.com once you click the event tickets tab. Be at the game and experience history. So we know that what all the awards are. And the NLL also gives us a tiny sneak peek into who finished where in said awards. This is, of course, courtesy of the All-NLL first and All-NLL second teams. They also released an all-rookie team as well. So here's this. Here's the all-rookie team. And as you see on your screen, Nolan Byrne makes it, as does Michael Grace, Owen Hiltz, Sam English, CJ Hurst. Now this is a shocking development, actually. Jackson Fridge is not one that I considered, and I don't know, maybe I should have. On the season, Jackson Fridge, 1 goal, 8 assists, 64 loose balls, 10 caused turnovers, and 5 blocked shots. Wow. That is interesting to the least. He was tied for, what is that, third, fourth? He was tied for 8th in caused turnovers among rookies, tied for 5th in blocked shots, loose balls, tied for 7th or 8th. And that's a little bit peculiar. I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you have to watch the games, and I get that, but there is a reason why stats have been invented. And I am, again, shocked he made this list. It is no knock on him, but instead of just saying, oh, why did he make it, let's look at other guys who deserve to be considered. How about Braden Saris being one of 4 rookies to have over 50 points? How about Matthew Pilato, like one of the best rookie face-off seasons of all time? Hugh Kelleher, 17 caused turnovers. Connor Knock, 14 caused turnovers and 9 blocked shots and 2 goals. I don't know. This should be a celebration. But there was enough votes on Rookie of the Year that Jackson Fridge, I'm asking the voters an honest damn question here. Who put Now, another thing, I want to mention this as well, because it's not just the media who votes on these. It's also coaches and board of governors. I would really hope that the media members, the top 5 is on the screen. I'm okay with that. I'm curious to know who thought Jackson Fridge was better than Connor Knock, Matthew Pilato, Braden Saris, Hugh Keller. I'm curious who put him in there. I'm not saying he was not a successful rookie, especially considering that he's a 3rd-round pick. I'm also not going to say I hate Jackson Fridge, but I find it very peculiar how he gets the nod over other rookies that I thought, if not for the top 5, they should have been considered. Jackson Fridge is probably my 3rd tier of guys. And again, it's not a knock on him. It's a knock on the process and how he leapfrogged feels like at least 3 or probably 4 deserving guys right off the, and that's just top of the head. Just saying. But I am happy all 5 of my guys got on Rookie of the Year. That means it was pretty much consensus. All right, so we'll leave that one alone. Let's move on to the All-NLL teams, because this one is a little bit interesting. And I had a feeling that I was not just going to be, these awards were not going to be all roses. I figured there would be some disagreements, all right? So All-NLL first team is as follows. The goalie, of course, Brett Dobson, goaltender of the year. Transition, of course, Zach Currier, transition player of the year. Keegan Ball, of course, is a forward, offensive player of the year. Dane Smith, I guess, was second on that ballot, or maybe MVP, I'm not sure. Brad Cree, of course, was second defensive player of the year because Callum Jones won it. So that's good. That's a decent list. Dane Smith makes me, I guess, people gave him credit for the late season push by Buffalo. I disagree with that. All second team. Del Bianco apparently was second among goaltenders. For me, Del Bianco was third. I can see that because I made the argument, even though I gave it to Warren Hill, because I thought Warren Hill had a better season than Del Bianco. I really do. But Del Bianco, there were times when the offense did struggle, and Del Bianco did have to make some good saves and was awesome. Jordan McIntosh apparently finished second in transition player of the year. Again, he was my transition player. So he was second on my list as well. Mitch DeSnew and Ryan Dilks, of course, also on that defensive thing right there. So Adam Levy says DeSnew was fourth on defense. Oh, that was because Dilks was the finalist. I forgot about it. So Dilks was the finalist. So DeSnew was apparently fourth on the list. And for me, DeSnew actually popped up number 2. So there you go. Andrew Q was on there as well as Jeff Teets. There you go. Interesting. So again, according to Adam Levy, great breakdown by him, Del Bianco was second on goaltender of the year behind Dobson. Jordan McIntosh is the second-ranked transition player. Brad Cree was second defender. DeSnew was the fourth defender. And Jeff Teets, he called it the fourth forward. I think he meant the fourth offensive player. I'm pretty sure that's what that meant. So there you go. I don't mind it. Like I said, I see the argument for all these guys. Andrew Q, I know that Adam Levy has now been on record saying he named him Offensive Player of the Year. I don't mind that considering I had Andrew Q fourth, but missing 6 games did not help him, nor did his lack of assists. So just saying on that front. But there you go. We now understand who got voted for what, at least a little bit more. So I am curious to see the other top 5s that are out there. And if you want to unveil that, please tweet them out and tag us at Daily Dive. I think that's right. And Spencer Conley of Nighthawks Network says 119 points referring to Connor Fields. I put Connor number 5 in my Offensive Player of the Year, if that helps you. But I also know Spencer is talking just to, because if anybody from Rochester deserves an award, it was Connor Fields and probably no one else, but I get that one. Also, Fields just won the MVP, so that's interesting how that worked. All right. When we come back to the show, let's talk about top 4 most likely to win Finals MVP if Halifax wins it. Not my prediction, even though I said Halifax would win, but if Halifax wins, who is going to be most likely carrying the load? We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026. We appreciate you tuning in to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talks from the planet, focused mainly on the NLL. NLL finals begin tomorrow, in case you're wondering. And you can get tickets to the game. All games, actually. Click the event tickets tab at natalkradio.com. And once you do, you'll be taken to Vivid Seats. And there, type in Halifax Thunderbirds or Toronto Rock. There you go. So, I have told you guys my pick to win the finals. Tomorrow, I will be picking a finals MVP and how many games I think this goes. Yesterday's show, I showed you guys the path forward for Toronto. If they won the finals, who is most likely to win finals MVP? And just for a recap of that, I said number one would be Nick Rose, because we've learned from Halifax they will get offensive resets and take a bunch of shots. They will also run in transition. Nick Rose, number one. Chris Boucher is the leading goal scorer for Toronto this postseason. He was also the leading scorer that wasn't a rookie in the regular season for them. CJ Kirst, I'm not putting it out of the possibility that this awesome phenom could pull off some more magic. And of course, Mark Matthews, because he will no doubt stockpile points. But now it's time for the path forward if Halifax wins the finals. I've got Clark Peterson number one. I told you guys earlier, Clark Peterson was my number 4 MVP. If you look at the points that this guy gathers, it's ridiculous. While other guys might be scoring goals, he will add 2 goals of his own and also 5 or 10 assists. This guy is going to keep it up. He's going to keep scoring. He's going to keep passing it. And I can see his numbers being enough if Halifax wins. Warren Hill is number 2 and not number 1 because I feel like Thunderbirds will have more shots. Now, I do see a scenario, obviously, having him number 2, where Toronto takes a lot of shots and he has to make some magic saves. And I can also see a scenario where it's 2 close games or 3 close games and Warren Hill shuts the door all 3 times. But I think I'll give the nod to Clark Peterson. Warren Hill, obviously a viable option here. Number 3 for me would be Jason Knox. You're like, well, why is he only number 3 when I've been banging the drum all year? Because if he gets his hat trick, it means other guys are stepping up, and Warren Hill might be playing out of his mind anyways. Like, I think it's more likely that Clark Peterson benefits off guys like Randy Stotts and Jason Knox playing well, and stockpiles points. And it's more likely that Warren Hill is making awesome saves because I believe the Birds are going to win it. But Jason Knox is a very strong option for Finals MVP. And finally, one that seems a little bit sleepy, but when he's healthy, I mean, good Lord Almighty, Randy Stotts. This guy's known for clutch goals. He is going to score a bunch. If Halifax does win, he might be a big reason why. He also has that narrative, kind of like Nick Rose. He's a lot of guys' friends, and he can kind of twist the narrative. If it's like neck and neck, he would get the nod because it's Randy freaking Stotts. So there you go. What do you guys think? No matter who your pick is, who do you think is most likely to win the Finals MVP? Throw in Nick Rose or Warren Hill if you'd like. What about the forwards? Like, which of these forwards are we taking? You guys like? Are we hopping on the Chris Boucher bandwagon? Are we saying Jason Knox full steam ahead? Like, I'm interested to see what happens, but that's my most likely Finals MVP. And again, stay tuned tomorrow for Finals MVP. Coming up next, though, we're doing what's next for Ottawa and then Las Vegas. For the Ottawa Black Bears, I'm not just hearing things on the field, unfortunately. Stay tuned for that. How will they make the playoffs, or dare I say, even survive? We'll be right back to the show.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Dilly Dive. I am your host, Michael Karvelis. It is 1:30 here on the East Coast, and I'm not sure what time it is when you're watching the replay, but thank you for that as well. This is a cute comment. Unfortunately, I was not talking sleeper, even though I don't mind. I get it, but like, is he likely? I don't think so. But like, of the forwards, who do you think will win Finals MVP? All right. What we're doing now is once again a segment based off of Panther City. And again, it's called What's Next? Because we got to talk about teams that missed the playoffs but can probably make it back. But what is the best path forward for them? Right now, we're talking the Ottawa Black Bears. I want to first keep this on the field, and I think, first off, they still have to add more offensive pieces. I know they added Phil Caputo, and assuming that Caputo stays with the team, sure, keep him around. But I would not be complacent. Now that you have Rob Hellier, now that you have Phil Caputo, who you can hopefully trust to figure it out, you got to add some more options. Because when Jeff Teague decided to not show up the last few games, the Black Bears suffered so badly. So I do believe they need some guys. They need another guy who can get his own shot. Rob Hellier, again, was a great addition, but it is clearly not enough. And like I said, I do like the Caputo add-on. It's not going to be enough if the Black Bears are going to lead this team to the playoffs, and a team that's, again, has Jeff Teat on it. Also, they need more defenders. I'm talking guys not named Callum Jones. I do believe the Ottawa Black Bears can draft some more good defenders. I would honestly not even target good defenders in the draft, good offensive players in the draft. Target defenders and grab offensive guys from other teams. I do think it's possible to do that. Next year's draft might be better than this one, and this one's good. Don't get me wrong. But based on where the Black Bears might be picking, get the best defender and do it 2 or 3 times, because I think the defense could use it. Now, you're also hoping the fact that Zach Higgins shows up again, because last year he was awesome. This year, a little bit loopy. For the Ottawa Black Bears, by the way, this season they finished 8-10, which was good enough for 10th in the NLL. They were negative 18 goal differential. They're 4-5 both at home and on the road. Speaking of on the road, are the Ottawa Black Bears even staying in town? I've heard from a few people, not sure if this is officially happening, that Ottawa, are they even in the Canadian Tire Center next year? Yeah, they've said the right things and they've brought in their season ticket holders for a nice meeting and food. I get that. But that's never set in stone. And their attendance was dog water this year once again. I'm not saying that's what keeps teams afloat as much as it did before, but Canadian Tire Center has got things to do. And as long as the NLL's in the winter, I'm not shocked that Black Bears might not be there this year. I also heard a very strange thing that Ottawa might be going to Edmonton, but again, I say that with a grain of salt because I want people to realize it's out there and there's a little bit of smoke, but I don't know how big the fire is. Because for Edmonton, certain people have tried to shove that down our throats, and I just don't know if that's happening this year. It could be next year, but even then, would it be an expansion team? We just don't know. And again, people you hear it from, it's like, okay, well, it's like, cool, but how much of that is true? Because again, we also heard that Georgia, oh yeah, they're going to Edmonton. I told you guys that was BS from day one. They also re-upped their contract with that Seneca or whatever, or the Cherokee Hotel thing apparently in North Carolina that funds their team, all right? So Swarm ain't going anywhere. Arlotta's got no reason to move them right now. So that was not true. The Edmonton thing, again, a little bit weird. Because we keep on hearing, what about Georgia? What about Philadelphia? What about Ottawa? Well, which one is it? Or is it none of them? I don't know. But I thought it was only fair to fans who should hear that. Because, again, I hate what happened to Albany last year. Albany was finally trying to get in the barn, and the owner said, nah, screw you, double birds, we're going to Oshawa. That pissed me off. So if I ever hear things are happening, I'm not going to tell you they're news, but I'll say, yeah, Ottawa is in the mix of teams that might go to Edmonton, but probably won't. I don't know. But again, it's only fair to the fans that in Albany doesn't happen again. And I get it. Again, we knew Albany was not doing well. But for them to suddenly jump when all we heard about was Rochester, pissed a lot of people off, and rightfully so. When we come back, let's talk about the Desert Dogs. How do I think they can make it to the playoffs for the first time ever? We'll check that next. You're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Thursday, May 14th, 2026. You're watching Daily Dive. Reminder, you can get NLL merchandise if you're a United States resident by going to netalkradio.us/NLL. Head there today, see what it's all about. What's next for the Las Vegas Desert Dogs as we get to our final segment of today's show? How can they make the playoffs? This season, the Desert Dogs finished 8-10, good enough for 9th in the NLL. They were 6-3 at home and a horrible 2-7 on the road. 2-7 on the road, tied with Oshawa and Philadelphia for worst in the league for those counting. They were also one of the teams that missed the playoffs, the best goal differential, even though it was still -10. Number one for me is exactly the thing I probably said last year. Goaltending. Who knew? I will say it again. I don't give a good god dang. I don't care what Sean Williams did with Landon Kells and Alex Bouquet. I said it from day 0 of the season. We knew by the end of this year, those two guys would not be the answer. Is it time to admit I was right? Or are we going to run it back next year? People are sickening sometimes. I receive so much hate and backlash for dare saying that Landon Kells and Alex Bouquet might not be the answer. Oh my. You're like, well, what about Caleb Kahn? I'm glad you mentioned that. It was better if he had started games this year. Because the same argument you used to start this year, we're going to use next year. Oh, he's so young. Oh, they might suck. Well, guess what? You didn't start him this year, so you're back to square one. So again, please, for the love of the Christ, give me credit here. If there is any pushback to this, I will laugh in your face like a donkey. Caleb Kahn, I'll pull this out to make sure I'm right about this. Because I know I'm right, but God forbid I'll make sure. This season, Caleb Kahn played 15 minutes, okay? 15. And that was a game against Saskatchewan, okay? 15 minutes, 9 saves. It looks like he might have started. But if you give a guy 15 minutes, if Czech's notes on January 9th the Rush were considered the best team in the league, that is your fault. What did you expect to happen? Give the guy time to breathe and grow, for crying out loud. But again, we're going to go into year 2 with this guy learning from Landon Kells and Alex Bouquet. Again, you're full of crap. There's learning from those two guys about how to really be great. Spoiler, not happening. And I love those guys, but my God. What are we doing to Caleb Kahn, man? So again, for Vegas, I get it. Youngest player in the league. But that's really funny because you drafted him first freaking round. Obviously, he was better than other 19-year-olds. Who knew? I know. So again, number 1 for Vegas. I mean, at this point, Kai, number 1 for Vegas. Figure out the goalie and just give the reins. I don't care if the guy cannot legally drink with you yet after the game. Put him in there. So figure out the goalie, for crying out loud. I'm not doing this next year. I'm not doing this crap where we pretend that Landon Cat, it's not happening. We're not doing that next year. So figure out the goalie. And number 2, to help the goalie, figure out the defense. I believe Tyson Bell was a fantastic step in the right direction. It's not over. There is way more work to be done. It's funny. Sean Williams loves a great offense, and he's allergic to a great defense. We have said since day one, Vegas cannot just outscore their problems. What they tried all year. Please tell me. Anyone? Yes, you? Correct. The Henderson fans, I'm so happy that they packed out the barn this year. It was nice. And shout out to Jonah Haas for winning Executive of the Year. Good for him. But can we not? I'm not doing the story next year. If we're going to keep on giving Sean Williams this amazing super long leash just because, and I'm not doing it, man. I'm not going to sit here and watch them fail once again. All right? Chase Fraser will be healthy. Tyson Bell will have a full offseason, and they're going to run it back with Landon Kells and Alex Bouquet, and they're going to think that's going to solve it. It won't. But they can change that. I cannot wait until just the people on social media, hey, you must take this guy. You know what? Sure. I don't care. I'm so used to that with that team at this point. I don't even care anymore. All right. Thank you for watching today's show. We are rooting for the Desert Dogs to be good. We just want them to understand that a goalie might be the most important position on the field. I'm just saying. All right? Thank you for watching and listening to the show today. I told you guys that Brett Dobson was a deserving MVP. He was my number 1 MVP on my ballots. And, of course, that ballot again, Brett Dobson 1, Keegan Ball 2, Zach Currier 3rd, 4th was Clark Peterson, and 5th was Jeff Teat. We also looked at the all-rookie team. God bless Jackson Fridge. And we also looked at the All-NLL first and second teams and found out where those guys might have finished in voting, which, again, I'm not even mad at because I thought it was a pretty good list. Very good by all the awards voters. I just want to give them all a big round of applause. You guessed it. Also, my top 4 most likely to win finals MVP if Halifax wins it. All righty. On tomorrow's show, we'll preview the weekend of the NLL Finals. So, cannot wait for that. Reminder to get your tickets to the NLL Finals at NHTalkRadio.com. Click the event tickets tab as soon as you're done with today's show. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 o'clock Eastern, right here on North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. And to that point, have a great rest of your day. Make sure your family is safe. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, saying so long. This has been Daily Dive.